Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you weren't able to join my last session, I ran a session about an hour ago focusing on ASO and Apple Search Ad Synergy and the impact AI can be used to effectively, powerfully support you in those efforts. All that aside, my name is Benjamin Joshua Pugwash Collins Jones. The reason for that is my parents think that they are funny, and I'm a member of the customer success team here at SplitMetrics. I have a star study cast with us here today. The session's topic is scaling seasonal UA campaigns, unlocking the power of creatives and multi-channel approaches to boost ROAS. Try to say that 4 times fast after having some mulled cider, which is relevant because we are looking at seasonality here today. And as we're all very aware, the holiday season is already upon us. You've already probably been inundated with the seasonal adverts on television, music in the shops, or even decorations in all of your local areas. But I'd like to introduce the team that we have here today. As David already said, they are a fantastic group of people. I do apologize. They have a really impressive background and skill set. I did try to memorize it, was unable to do so. So I will go through and have to read off my notes in order to make sure I get everyone's name and all their experience right. In no particular order, Ben Bowen, Partnerships Manager for Adjust. For today's session, we're going to call him Ben 1 and I will be Ben 2. Ben is responsible for overseeing product and commercial-based strategy partnerships with extensive experience in programmatic advertising, mobile management, and brings a wealth of experience to the field of mobile marketing. Hi, Ben. How are you?
I'm good, Ben. How are you? Oh, I'm
I am
Ben.
good, thank
I'm,
you.
I'm I'm appreciative that I got the one title. So thank you. I'm good. How about yourself?
I can't complain. It's this is my last session of the day. I've had lots of fun so far talking to the chat and everything, and I'm excited to hear your insight. Moving on to our second speaker, we have Michael King. He's the head of growth at US Monaco. Michael has spent over 20 years of digital marketing experience, with about half of that time dedicated to performance mobile marketing. Michael currently heads up the consumer vertical at Monaco, focused on driving effective outcomes via operational machine learning. That was a mouthful, but Mr. King, how are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
Not bad, thank you. I have actually been Googling how to pronounce this to make sure I get this right today. Ashley Paducci, Head of Customer Insights and Measurement at TV Scientific. With over 18 years of experience, Ashley is a seasoned leader in performance marketing, adept at merging technical expertise with visionary leadership, currently serving as the head of customer insights and measurement at TV Scientific. Ashley is dedicated to helping both prospects and clients grasp the potential of performance TV for their brands. I have actually worked with TV Scientific in a previous life. You're a fascinating company. Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Hi, Ben. I'm great. Thank you. And you pronounced my last name perfectly. How are you?
I'm not bad, thank you. I'm glad you said that because I am unfortunately going to butcher my colleague's surname in a second and I can't apologize enough. So I'm glad I got one of the two right. Our last speaker, and by no means least, Daya Rachivkava, a senior account executive at SplitMetrics. She's a mobile growth enthusiast with a proven track record of driving user acquisition and engagement for apps. With 3+ years of experience in the mobile marketing industry, Daya has developed a deep understanding of the factors that contribute to the success of mobile apps. This is actually my second meeting today with Daya, one with a customer, now one with all of you lovely people. Hey, Daya, how are you?
That's it, right. Hi, everyone. Doing good. Hope likewise for you as well.
Thank you very much. Right then, we have some questions prepared, and we also have the opportunity for you to use the chat function as well to ask questions as we go. We hopefully will have enough time to get to them. If not, myself and the rest of the team who have been in the background answering the questions as we go will pick them up after today's session as well. To make the sessions as interactive as possible, there'll be a few polls for you, and we'll start by having one right now. Poll 1 being, what challenges are you facing when planning your seasonal UA campaigns? So please do answer that in, that's just popped up on your screen. And if you do have a other challenge that isn't included in that list, please do put that in the chat and we will hopefully get to those as well. While we vote on the poll, let's kick off today's discussion. With the creation of highly converting creatives, according to research, half of consumers plan to use their apps for shopping during this holiday season. Millions of apps are fighting to get users' attention, and creativity is key and king in these situations of every success for ultimately every successful campaign. What elements should creative enterprises have, and which format is the most converting ones? Michael, you are going to be my victim / first answer to this question. With lots of campaigns being optimized through Molecule DSP, you must observe a lot on your end. What creative approaches have proved to have been most successful, and what recent seasonal campaigns have been ran by your clients?
Sure. Yeah. Happy to take it on first. So what's worked well for us actually is our dynamic product ads. We call it DPA. So this actually leverages our advanced machine learning, our ML models, to show actually the relevant ads to each user and then optimize it automatically. So some statistics on that recently, performance when utilizing the Moloco DPA compared to just regular static ads, we've seen actually a 280% increase in ROAS. 118% increase in CTR, and then 107% increase in conversion rate. So good stats there. And then specifically for the seasonal campaigns, for UA campaigns, what works well is, really just customizing that seasonal creative, i.e. fall, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, while in tandem utilizing that DPA product that's really has proved out for us.
Those are pretty impressive numbers. If you don't mind, I'm then going to throw this over to Ashley. Being an expert in CTV campaigns, what should UA managers start when they're planning to launch a holiday CTV campaign, and what should they keep in mind as they develop that sort of strategy further?
Sure. So as they're starting the holiday CTV campaign, certainly think about who the audience is and how that changes throughout the season. So you want the strategy to align to the behavior as the season goes on. Early in the season, you might be starting by targeting your typical audience, but how does that expand as the weather changes, as co-viewership changes? With CTV, you are on the biggest screen in the house and you have attention for 30 seconds, and you might have the attention of the friends and the family that are viewing in the home with you. So now you want to think about how do you capture attention with the creative and align that creative strategy to the audience strategy throughout the season. So are you changing audio as season goes on? The call to action, how does that change? The where the actors are, if you're using actors with the gameplay, for example. So all really important elements, and also keep it aligned to where you are in the season. And don't forget about those new devices and how you're going to target those as you hit the end of the holidays.
Excellent. It's a very interesting point, particularly around, considering every single element, where are they positioned, what you're doing with that. With that in mind, I'm going to switch over to Apple Search Ads more specifically and speak to Daya to give some context to this question. According to the app figures, 61% of top apps overall use Apple Search Ads, and iOS users tend to make more in-app purchases than Android users. Daya, what's the best way to attract the right audience with your seasonal creatives?
Well, basically, I would say the biggest answer here is custom product pages, because basically they can help us to pinpoint the audience with the best value proposition we want to offer them and with the best visual that they would be interested in to view, basically. But please keep in mind is that not all of the holidays are equally presented in different locales. For example, as we have traditional Christmas and New Year, in Asian countries, they have their own New Year. So be please aware that while pinpointing the audience, take into consideration all unique cultural perspectives of it. And based on the feedback of our clients, for example, if you look at a couple of years ago, our clients were thinking whether to make a campaign related to Cyber Monday or Black Friday, but now we see that mainly we don't have such a problem because we have custom product pages and we can differentiate the audience the way we want and participate in any activities at this festive season.
Thank you very much. I'm now going to go to Ben 1. As Adjust was one of the first MMPs in the market to launch the custom product pages support. Could you share any success stories or best practices that demonstrate what CPPs or custom product pages should contain and what they should not contain when it comes to seasonal campaigns?
I'd be happy to answer that question, Ben, too. And I'm a little jealous I didn't get a heads up about the Hawaiian shirts. I have about 20 of them in my closet. So next time. But some of the best practices that I would recommend would be, to splash your product page with, holiday spirit by crafting, a vibrant color palette that mirrors, the essence of the holiday. So if you're marketing a game, you should infuse it with, virtual gifts, festive costumes, special power-ups, all the things that basically capture the magic of the holidays. You should also boost your visibility by strategically embedding, holiday specific keywords into your screenshots. So that way you're ensuring your creatives, not only stand out, but shine brightly, catching the eyes of users, who are on the hunt for the ultimate holiday app or product. But it's also not about looks. If you showcase your app's prowess by tackling holiday challenges or elevating, the holiday experience, if you highlight these features that would shine bright during the holiday season, that's a really good thing to showcase as well. On the don'ts, on the flip side, the key to a successful seasonal campaign is knowing when to let go. So after the holiday craze has passed, you got to make sure you get rid of those creatives that no longer align with the season. So, if having those up, you're most likely to have people pass on or not really engage with the app.
Thank you very much. I think making a point of, colorful clothing, colorful aesthetics when I'm sat here in a bright Hawaiian shirt like this, I think is a very, very apt comparison. And like you said, when to let go, probably should let go of the Hawaiian shirts back in June, as it's currently, I think, something like 3 degrees where I'm sat here in Poland at the moment. But that's an analogy that's loosely fitting the description. As we're looking at the do's and don'ts here, Michael, let's get back to you. Could you please share some examples of successful seasonal UA campaign creatives?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So at Moloco, we work with a lot of apps, especially on the consumer side in the food and delivery vertical. And recently, what has worked well are focusing on alcohol-specific campaigns to give it that extra seasonal flair. We've been promoting fall seasonal beers. We even do cocktails, even snacks, Halloween candy, things that are, attributable to the holidays. And since we're running these highly targeted campaigns to either net new users or existing users, they're able to immediately really add to cart in that purchase in that moment. It's performed very well. It's the equivalent to, when you're in the grocery store and you have that in the aisles right there, that impulse buy, right? So it works really well, converts really well. Another example, as you may know, this season is not only the holidays, but also a huge sporting time in the US. So we have right now in this time is the Mecca. We have NFL football, we have baseball World Series, we had it. We have the start to the NBA. So at Moloco, a lot of localized targeting campaigns for our RMG, real money gambling clients. This time of the year, we'll showcase local teams and what the big matchups are head to head based on people's locations. So that also drives further customization.
Thank you very much. It is a big time for sports. I'm an actual NFL Miami Dolphins fan myself for my sins. So it is interesting to see that sort of localization being here in Poland. We do still see some of that element as well. So thank you for sharing that. Ashley, let's go back to CTV campaigns. What design trends should advertisers consider when designing creatives for CTV? And I'm assuming there's also quite strong do's and don'ts that you can shed some light on.
Yeah, being in the CTV space for a few years now, I am seeing, as I watch CTV in the background, definitely a level up in the quality of the holiday creative this year. So I'm seeing a lot of more targeted, specific creative to the holidays. It's catching my ear. So a lot of time put into the audio and testing different audio, whether that's different jingles based on the time of season, something your ear recognizes so that you look up. And then you have all of the basics. So you always want branding as a do for your whole 30 seconds of creative. What is the brand, the app name, the game name? the logo of the App Store have a call to action so that there is immediate action taken. You want them to find your app, go to the website, all of that. We love using actors with the app play or the app in hand. That certainly we have seen can convert better. In terms of don'ts, it's not a great time to take your branding out of it. I have seen some of that. You can leave the audience guessing. If you can A/B test it, but it's probably not your best bet in terms of what to do with your creative. And definitely use data. So we love to A/B test creative, understand, did this audio work versus that audio? Did this actor perform better, or this background perform better, or the logo at the bottom right versus the top of the screen? So use all of that data to help form the decisions that you make as your creative strategy goes on.
Amazing. Last but no means least, something that I know Daya and I have spoken about at length while working together. What creative trends do you advise clients to utilize when designing assets for seasonal campaigns?
First and foremost, I want to tell that I totally agree with all of the colleagues, just because even a small change could bring a drastic impact on your performance. And we see it among our clients. The ones who participate in seasonal campaigns can, by simple change of an icon, get a significant result. For example, we have one of the clients who made an update for the holiday season and got 40% increase in the installs. By taking the best practices, you definitely know that it's really good to follow in the color palettes that are valuable to the season, as Ben mentioned recently. But we also know that for big brands, it's sometimes a blocker because they have a specific brand identity guideline they have to follow. But nevertheless, I would suggest to be creative, because even by adding a specific elements that are relevant to this, so that season could significantly change and attract more users to your app. And of course, I would say that it's very important to use relevant and engaging text in your creatives, because we need to think about some short and bold fonts with specific tags to basically create an urgency among the users. It doesn't really matter which specific category we're speaking about. It's rather gaming or health and fitness category, or even e-commerce. Our main goal is to make our product immediately visible and make an intention to make a purchase, or try an app by the end of the year, or whenever the season is, when you promote your app. And I believe that in the previous session, you've seen my colleagues have shared an amazing tool that we have as SplitMetrics acquire called CPP Intelligence. So when our clients have got limited in terms of the new ideas for their campaigns, they strictly go there to find some new ideas and creatives and basically sneak and peek what clients in the market do. So I would say competitive analysis is also a great source of ideas for you.
Excellent. Now, before we move forward into sort of the next topic, we're going to talk about, I've had to put my glasses back on because we're going to look at the responses from our first poll to get to know what challenges our audience facing. There are, it was multiple choice. The two key ones we're seeing here is sort of high competition, high advertising costs, and also low retention rates being sort of the key ones that people are seeing. But there are obviously the other challenges as well. We are going to then go into, so it's good to see we're seeing some sort of common trends there. We are going to go into our next topic, which is going to be about proper channel mixing. Before we go into that, we do have our second poll. What channels are you using when running seasonal campaigns? And that's just to help us get a little bit of an understanding of what sort of channels people are using in the call today, or in the audience in the call today. Now, finding the right proper channel mix. Here, the event team have just launched that poll, but according to statistics, there are 5.7 million apps on all of the major stores, and it's rather difficult for app marketers and UA managers to make their app stand out. So, Daya, you were the last to answer the last question, but you're going to be the first to answer in this topic. Are there any specific strategies or tactics you found particularly successful for finding the right channels to run successful seasonal UA campaigns?
I was really happy to see that in the poll, it was not the most challenging part of seasonal campaigns, but nevertheless, I would say that most of us would agree that the best tactic here is to allocate your budget 80 to 20%. So 80% would be the budget or to the channels which already perform well, and 20% to the channels that you're testing at the moment. Why? Because our main goal is to allocate resources to the channel to maximize your volumes, and especially when you know the channel pretty well and it shows great results, there is no goal to make the strategy in any other way, because we need to get the most of the high season for our app. Secondly, it would be really important to analyze if, for example, you don't have a specific historical data to get a better understanding on how to allocate your budget. It would be great to make a seasonal campaign a bit in advance, because all ad channels need some time and some sufficient time for the learning phase. So the more time we have for that, the better for us, the better results we're going to get at the end. And of course, if speaking of Apple Search Ads, for example, an app store ecosystem as a whole, I would suggest to use multi-placement approach, because as you already know, Apple Search Ads provides a wide range of placements for you. And when you have an opportunity to combine different of those, for example, search results in collaboration with Today tab and Search tab, I believe you've heard that there are some recent updates in relates to Today tab, so it will be more interesting to test this one later on. But nevertheless, the idea is the following: is that when the user sees your app multiple times in store, he has a higher intention to make an install and later on make a purchase of your app. So our main goal is to make the mix where we have a bigger possibility to increase our visibility and in the end increase the performance of the ad campaign we've launched.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Daria. Mr. King, or Michael, sorry, I am getting an unusual amount of joy by calling you Mr. King. In your experience in the ever-changing landscape of UA channels, what multi-channel strategies have been particularly successful, and how can UA managers optimize the bullet allocation among these different channels?
And Mr. King is fine as well too. I'll take both. Yeah, actually kind of interesting. So on the poll that you mentioned, one of it said competition, so I'll reference that as well, and then a +1 to Daria's 80-20 rule. If you're in that, I'll start with the 80-20. On the 80%, really focusing, if it's programmatic, ensuring a strong ROI requires that you, as mobile marketers, we insulate ourselves as much as possible from cost fluctuations, which the high competition we really see in Q4. One way to do this for our clients, we proactively report on CPM. So maybe at the end of Q3 or early in Q4, we'll run a historical analysis for our clients and give them so examples are, you typically see CPM spike during the holiday season, and that may not be profitable or make sense for certain advertisers to compete against the big names that are running, think Amazon and Walmart. So what may be more advantageous if you want to stick with that 80% in the programmatic channel is to run during what we call Q5. So this is essentially December 25th all the way through January. Sometimes it bleeds into February. And this is when CPMs really take a sharp decline. And after the holiday season, plus there's a likelihood that users are getting new phones for the holidays, new devices. So that's another benefit. But outside in that 20% testing, I always think a good testing is to go beyond mobile and test within CTV. So it's a new and emerging channel for app marketers, as we've discussed in here as well. It has a vast user base. Viewers tend to be highly engaged, resulting in more reach and essentially brand exposure. If you do run CTV, my recommendation is to tie it back to outcomes, i.e. installs or purchase events, and then use a set attribution window. And then finally, if you're going to run in multiple channels, I always recommend that you obviously test to make sure those channels are incremental. So run incrementality test, or if you have MMM test to measure how effective each channel is at reaching those new audience. In my experience, we have a handful of clients that run what's called always on incrementality, where they're consistently measuring the lift across all their channels to see which are most performant.
Thank you very much for that. It would be remiss of me not to mention we have in our chat, the team have very kindly shared links to some seasonality guides that we have. This obviously is focusing on more focusing on ASA obviously as a course or route, but I would recommend those articles as they are going to give you a lot of insight into that seasonality approach, and also to +1, as you mentioned, the drop off that occurs with CPM in that sort of January-February period. We see that as well, and there's more information about that in those articles. To talk CTV, it would be then best to go back to Ashley. Ashley, can you kind of talk to us about any, how to dispel the doubts people may have when it comes to CTV and how it matches with other marketing channels? Do you have any sort of success stories you can share that sort of demonstrate how CTV campaigns improve other campaigns as well?
Yes, Ben, too. This is one of my favorite questions because I do live and breathe in the data. So, of course, being in the CTV world, I certainly believe that it works, but I have the advantage of seeing our customers' data before and after CTV. So, CTV is non-clickable at the end of the day. There's always another channel that is going to get credit for it. So it's really important to use tools at hand to understand what the impact is and whether it is working for your brand and it is lifting other channels. I just yesterday was looking at a 55% lift in the 2 hours before and after CTV being shown for a very large app in the store. So that's one example, that kind of lift, making just that immediate impact. So Michael mentioned attribution windows. There's that small attribution window and then the time decay that happens after that. Incrementality is an important look when you're looking at CTV, but I really have started to approach CTV as twofold. So you have the incrementality play. Is CTV bringing new audience to your brand? And then you also have the play of, is CTV helping lift conversion rate in your other channels? And I think that's what really paints the full picture, is what is it bringing new and how is it helping other channels? I have an example of a customer where at a certain frequency, CTV helps search ads and other paid channels convert at 100% higher than it does without. So that's where you get into the lift, which we like to call the halo effect of TV. It's not simply that incrementality play, but it's that halo that hits the rest of your channels. And at TV Scientific, that's part of what we do. We're here to measure connected television, help you give insights into how that's working, and paint that full picture using the always on incrementality, using halo effect, looking at before, after, and then even approaching incrementality with PSAs. I can tell you that for the largest apps that there absolutely is incrementality. We're finding that, and it takes time. I know Daria mentioned the time it takes to get a campaign up and running and have those learnings, but if you are willing to invest the time and the energy to look into the insights, you can help prove out the story that CTV does absolutely make an impact on other channels and in acquiring new audience as well.
Thank you very much. I am going to go back to Ben one to talk. I'm sure you've got some examples of how successful CTV campaigns can be. I know Adjust was offered the first comprehensive sort of CTV measurement solution for mobile app marketers. So can you please sort of give us your insight into what you think CTV brings to the table and why UA managers should use this channel along with other digital ones?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been hearing that CTV definitely is a helpful catalyst for other initiatives that you have going on in your UA strategies. So, I mean, needless to say, CTV is the pivotal and increasing preferred channel that we're seeing for UA managers. So the integration of CTV with other digital channels, it does unravel a myriad of advantages, that reshape the landscape of marketers in their advertising strategy. So the thing with CTV is it provides a distinctive environment where we see users that actively engage with premium, high quality video content, where advertisers can captivate audiences through, really visually stunning ads, which foster a deeper connection with potential customers. It's a lot better than, just seeing some random 5-second ad pop up on your phone that you're just trying to exit out as fast as possible. And it goes without saying, but CTV audiences are on a constant upward trajectory. The ongoing shift from traditional cable TV to streaming services, we're seeing more and more people cutting the cords to traditional cable TV and being really active within CTV. So with UA managers, they can gain access to a vast and diverse audience that reflects that evolving landscape of consumer preferences. But one of the CTV standout features, as we've been talking about, as Ashley said, the halo effect, is the ability to facilitate, a versatile cross-device engagement. Users can seamlessly transition from engaging with ads on their TV to taking action on other devices, so like smartphones or even tablets. So this adaptability has positioned CTV as a versatile and integral channel that our clients have been utilizing for driving user acquisition. And another great thing about CTV ads is that they distinguish themselves by being engaging and non-intrusive. Unlike traditional TV commercials, CTV ads, they seamlessly integrate into the user experience, ensuring that users are going to be paying attention to these ads that align with their interests and their preferences. And then another thing is, brand awareness. Brand awareness is great for CTV. With UA managers, they can showcase their brands and their products on a bigger screen than just a smartphone. So this experience leaves a lasting impression on viewers, contributing to the establishment and reinforcement of brand identity. And additionally, I'm just going to keep going on about CTV, but the creative possibilities on CTV are boundless. So it offers UA managers, the freedom for creative storytelling. So you have longer video formats, for that brand messaging in a compelling and narrative-driven manner, and just enhances the overall impact. So with CTV combined with the other digital channels, such as social media, search, display, it really forms a comprehensive user acquisition strategy. So in essence, CTV has emerged, at least that we've seen, as a formidable force for UA managers, offering a robust combination of a vast and growing audience, precise targeting capabilities, and the capacity to engage users, like I said, with high quality, non-intrusive ads. So the thoughtful integration of CTV with other digital channels, it forms, like I said, this holistic user acquisition strategy that guarantees a nuanced and effective approach to your advertising campaigns.
Thank you very much. I think it's been a little while since we've looked at the poll, so we should probably see what the results were of poll 2. Excellent. So we can see lots of sort of different people covering lots of different bases. It's good to see that CTV is in there, but by sounds of things, based on the great information we've seen from our teams today, CTV is definitely one that should maybe be considered more by some of you. I also saw that I think I saw in the chat someone added as an additional one, being X, or aka Twitter, which I don't think was included in this list as well. Excellent. So that takes us very neatly into our third topic. So we're going to be touching upon, we touched upon the creative trends, the most successful UA channels. Now let's focus on the measurement in the sort of privacy first era. Ben one, again, how does Adjust mobile attribution platforms help analyze seasonal campaigns performance at a channel or creative level when considering this sort of privacy first era?
Yeah. Adjust is great for tracking and optimizing seasonal campaigns, because we're not just an MMP, we're a go-to partner for maximizing every aspect of your campaign performance. So with our attribution that we have, we can effortlessly trace user interactions across diverse channels, from ad networks to social media platforms. And, if you're curious about which channels are bringing in the most conversions during your seasonal campaign, we can give you that answer. And campaign tagging is easy. You know, we let you label your campaigns with specific tags for seasons or promotions. And the thing about Adjust that's different from all of our other competitors is that we offer an unlimited look back window. So if you're running, you know, Black Friday ads or seasonal ads, you know, obviously that's what we're talking about here today. We offer that unlimited look back window so you can check and see what was going on a year prior to that time, maybe even 2 years prior to that time. So this is something that no other MMP offers. And with conversion tracking, we also have that covered. So with that, you can know exactly how your users engage with your campaign creatives, and whether they're completing the actions that you want to see, like a purchase or, you know, so on and so on. But we can also break down the costs associated with each channel or that creative. So that really helps you calculate, you know, ROI, and identify the most cost-effective channels, you know, during this seasonal period. And additionally, our custom event tracking, you know, lets you define specific user actions, providing insights into the various stages of that user journey. So you can create audience segments as well based on that behavior, you know, to really tailor in on your seasonal promotions. And then, you know, fraud, that's another thing. You know, when you're doing your seasonal campaigns, you want to make sure that what you're seeing is true. And Adjust covers that as well. We include our fraud prevention, which is going to help with your seasonal campaigns as well, because you want to make sure that your data is clean and accurate. And then lastly, you know, we have an award-winning BI tool, which is called Datascape. And with that, you can easily track these metrics that matter most to the seasonal campaigns. And we also offer an unlimited raw data export at no extra cost, which is another thing that separates us from our competitors. So in a nutshell, you know, Adjust empowers mobile advertisers and UA managers with a comprehensive understanding of their seasonal campaign performance. So, you know, we're not just a tool. We look at ourselves as a partner in driving success for, you know, your seasonal promotions or whatever's most important to you.
Thank you very much. Continuing down that sort of privacy-centric area that we talked about, I'm going to throw over to Mr. King. SK Ad Network or SCAD Network was launched, I think, 4 years ago, and then the Scan was launched. Scan 4.0 was launched about a year ago. What are the challenges this raised, and importantly, what also opportunities were raised because of this?
Sure. Yeah. You know, overall, I think I tend to look at opportunity or challenges as opportunities, and I think you sort of have to when you're presented with a challenge such as Scan. And then ironically enough, and so you said it was 3 years ago for iOS 14 drop. I know that specifically because I started at Moloko 3 years ago, and it was, you know, heads down at that point. But that's when iOS 14 fully dropped. We took a similar approach then as we're doing now, in the sense that everyone's in the same boat, right? In the mobile space, they all have to deal with this. However, they may be in a different timeline or simply just need more education on what we feel is the best course of action. So again, what we feel is taking a proactive consulting approach, work closely with our clients to find the best solution that works for them, right? And we're following that same playbook for the transition to Scan, in proactively meeting with our clients, setting them up with a set of best practices to mitigate as many challenges as possible. But to specifically answer the question, I'll break it down into the challenges and opportunities. On the challenges side, understanding and adapting to the new Scan method, being an MMP and then transitioning over to Scan, because they're two very distinct and different attribution approaches. First, on the MMP, they rely on attribution windows for CT and VT. Scan relies on fidelity type. A typical MMP attribution window is 7 days for CT and typically 1 day or 24 hours for VT. Fidelity type for Scan, you either have a 1, which is a 30-day window, which is huge, and then 0, which is that 24-hour window. So due to these differences, there's inevitably going to be discrepancies between the MMP and Scan reporting when you're attributing conversions. So understanding how to measure these, your performance is critical. So that's a challenge that we work with on our clients. On the opportunity side, specifically looking at Scan 4.0, You're going to have more post-install action. There'll be the 3 postbacks that follows after that first install. So it gives you more insights into the user journey and beyond the initial install. And then really understand what post-install actions are important to you, the advertiser, in your app. So test and build different conversion schemas to help translate scan and measure that interpret to you specifically for your app. And then at last, creative insights. By utilizing additional scan source ID, we can understand the creative, which creative is significant, and that's a big change from before as well.
Thank you very much. I quite liked the sentence opportunities, challenges as opportunities, which I think is a mentality I think we all would like to take a little bit more on our day-to-day. So thank you for sharing that. I do have a question for Ashley. TV Scientific a few months ago launched a cost per outcome model, which I think is very exciting, particularly as I think the pressure marketers and UA managers are having more and more to achieve positive ROAS and ROI. This is important. So from your perspective, what sort of things do you recommend or ensure your customers are doing to ensure the best ROI when it comes to CTV?
Sure. So we're super excited to have launched the cost per outcome method. And what that is we take the risk at the end of the day. So we work together to decide on the outcome that you will pay on, and that outcome really becomes the currency between the two of us. So if it is installs, for example, rather than paying on the CPM, you're paying on the install having happened or the purchase having happened. And the way we make sure this is successful is we really use a combination of our team of experts and AI learning to drive the most outcomes as possible across strategies that are working. So we take on, in the cost per outcome model, we take on the strategy entirely. You're responsible for the creative, and we work closely with you to still surface things like, is this incremental? Is this driving halo effect? And the customer has full visibility into the outcomes that are being measured against.
Thank you very much. Now we are coming towards the end of today's discussion. I do have one last question that I'd love for each of you to answer. Unfortunately for time, I am going to try and get you guys to get it under 60 seconds if possible. The question being, can you please share the top recommendations for marketers and mobile marketers when it comes to reshaping their seasonal UA campaigns? And Ashley, if you don't mind, I'll start with you.
Ooh, I'm first. Okay. First of all, creative matters. With that being said, don't let it stop you. So we don't want creative to feel like a hurdle. We can help you get there, whether that's using UGC, helping you, slice different pieces together and add your branding. It can happen quickly. So creative matters. Start now. So it sounds like a lot of you have not actually started with CTV. There's still time to get learnings in for Q4, and you'll have those learnings going into 2024 that will help you shape your marketing strategy. Expand your audience. CTV is not one-to-one like your typical mobile audiences. You're targeting a household. So there are often multiple individuals in that house. And test and learn will be my last test. We test and learn all the time, understand what's working, build on that, what's not working, get it out of your mix and expand more.
Thank you very much for that. Daya, we haven't heard from you for a little while. Don't worry, we hadn't forgotten. We'd love you to go next.
Oh, I have a couple of advices, and basically the first one is prepare in advance, just because it doesn't matter whether we speak about marketing campaigns inside the stores or any other channels. Be aware that the more time you have, the better, and the more time you have to promote yourself during the holidays, the better. Ben at the very beginning mentioned that SplitMetrics created many useful materials related to seasonal campaigns, and I would highly suggest you to visit our website and look at Ultimate Seasonality Guide, because our team has collected lots of recommendations there, especially the calendar, where you can see at what time you are to basically start promoting your app before the holiday season starts, basically. Of course, review your budget, because especially when we have a couple of holidays in a row, we should not spend all of our budget in the first holiday and have zero for the last. So prepare your budget in advance and review it accordingly from holiday to holiday. And of course, make localizations for your ads, because we're in a global world, and you know that cultural differences matter a lot. So the more you're prepared, the better in this case.
I want to just add a +1 to Daya's point about looking at some of the great resources. I know our team have been putting them into the chat. There is some great ones to get you started there. The only thing I would say you didn't get right was I'm Ben 2, because we are now going to go to Ben 1 to get his insights.
It doesn't, I mean, I'm you know, I think that doesn't, it's really funny. It keeps making me laugh, the Ben 1, Ben 2. So keep it coming. But like I said, I'm a Ben, so I should find that funny. Sorry, you said 60 seconds. Plan early and strategically. So I would start planning your seasonal campaigns well in advance to ensure that you have a clear strategy in place. Tailor ad creatives and messaging. So create seasonal ad creatives that resonate with your target audience and reflect the spirit of the season, like I mentioned before. Optimize for mobile experience. So ensure that your landing pages and mobile app are optimized for a seamless mobile experience. If have been usually on web and you're now kind of venturing into mobile, this is a huge thing to make sure that's working, is just making sure that the mobile app works, really well and is user friendly. And then, because I work at Adjust, leverage data and analytics. So use tools like us to gain insights into user behavior and campaign performance. We can help you refine your UA strategy, based on real-time data. You can implement A/B testing to compare the effectiveness of these creatives, ad placements, and audience targeting strategies. And then lastly is stay agile and adapt. So seasonal campaigns may require quick adjustments based on market dynamics, consumer sentiment, and unexpected events. So be prepared to adapt your strategy in real time. I think that was 60 seconds.
I think it was near enough, but we'll let you off.
Okay,
last, by no means least, Mr. King, anything you'd like to add?
I'll burn through mine, but a +1 on everyone's. I think those are very topical. I would say, so customize the user experience towards those seasonal offerings, and when you can, potentially use deep linking. Utilize machine learning to show the right ad to the right user at the right time. And then if you can, update the App Store icon to be holiday themed. It's always helpful. And then understand that these will be your most quality users pretty much the entire year. So be willing to have a higher CPA target, or even if you can, try running a ROAS campaign and you can get those results immediately and not having to wait for the LTV. So that's another thing to test. And then, as I mentioned earlier, and I think it's in one of your notes, take advantage of the Q5. Maybe hold on to that budget from spending it early in December and then push it towards the latter half or early of January.
And I think with all odds, I think we actually managed to get that just on time. I think we've actually hit the marker right on the head. So I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to all of our fantastic speakers for taking the time to do today. It's been extremely grateful for all of you. For those of you who asked questions that we weren't able to get to, the team have been collating them. We will be in touch to answer any of those questions that you've asked that we weren't able to answer today. And as a note from me, thank you for actually joining us today and spending that time with us. I know there's a lot of opportunities out there to get a lot of information, and we're glad that you chose to spend the last hour with us. So thank you to the speakers and to you in the audience as well. Thank you very much.